I discovered my family knew about my spouse's affair and helped keep a secret. I don't know how to even begin this. I've never posted anything like this on Reddit before, and honestly, I don't even know what I'm hoping to get out of it. Maybe it's closure. Maybe it's validation that I'm not losing my mind. Or maybe it's just one last scream into the void before I let all of this go and start trying to piece together what's left of my life. But here goes. Let's start with what used to be the basics of my identity. My name is Lisa. Was 35 when the story starts. I was married to a man named Mark for almost 10 years. We met in our mid-20s at a mutual friend's birthday party. And when I say it felt like a movie moment, I mean it. I still remember the way his eyes looked at me across the crowded backyard. I remember our first conversation, how easy it was to talk to him, like we were just picking up a conversation we had left off in another life. It wasn't all smooth, of course. No marriages, but we built something, or at least I thought we did. We bought a modest but cozy home just outside Portland. I worked as a veterinary tech and Mark was in IT, nothing fancy, but we made it work. We laughed a lot. We had weekly movie nights. We talked about kids, even though we hadn't had any yet. To anyone looking in, we probably seemed boring, stable, happy, and then everything cracked. But the worst part wasn't the affair. The worst part was discovering that my family, my own blood, knew and said nothing. The weird shift I didn't want to see. It started small, of course. It always does. About a year and a half ago, I started noticing little things. Mark used to be home by 5:30 like clockwork. Then it became 6. Then 7. Sometimes later. I asked him about it, and he said things were picking up at work. New projects. They just dumped a client migration on me. He said one night, as he collapsed on the couch, already in sweats, phone in hand. I bought it. I wanted to believe him. Then there was his phone. Mark used to be pretty casual about it. We'd share TikToks or memes. He'd leave it on the kitchen counter or the coffee table without a second thought. But suddenly, it was always in his pocket, always on silent. One night, he even took it into the bathroom with him in the middle of the night. I asked him why, and he got weirdly defensive. I was reading Reddit. He mumbled, "Okay, sure, that could be true, right?" I started getting in my own head. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was overthinking because we'd been married so long and things were just settling in a way I wasn't ready for. I kept telling myself, don't be that person who accuses their spouse of cheating just because they're tired and stressed. But then other things started happening. My sister's strange comment. I was out to lunch with my older sister, Jenna, one Saturday. Jenna and I have always had a rocky relationship. She's very type A, always has something to say about what I'm wearing, eating, doing, but she's my sister. You learn to take the jabs with a fake smile and a shot of wine later. That day, we were halfway through our Caesar salads when she made a weird comment. She said, offhandedly, "So, how's Mark handling all the attention these days?" I blinked. What attention? She gave a weird little shrug and said, "Oh, nothing. I just meant he still got it, you know?" I kind of laughed it off at the time, but the word stuck. What did she mean by that? Why would she say something like that out of nowhere? When I asked her about it later, she said, "Oh my God, I was joking. Don't be so sensitive." Family dinners got awkward. I started noticing a shift in family dynamics, too. My mom, who used to adore Mark, suddenly started talking about him like he was just okay. "He seems tired," she'd say. Or, "Are you guys doing all right? He looks distracted." My brother Mike, whom Mark used to play fantasy football with, started avoiding him. At our nephew's birthday party, Mike barely said a word to him. Mark didn't even seem to notice. He was glued to his phone the whole time. But when I asked Mike about it later, he got quiet. "I've got stuff going on. Just been busy." It felt like everyone was walking on eggshells, and I was the only one who didn't know why. The day I found the first clue, the moment everything really started unraveling, was a stupid, normal Tuesday. Mark had left for work. I was working the late shift at the vet clinic, so I was home that morning. His laptop was still on the kitchen counter. Open. I wasn't snooping. I swear I just saw a notification pop up. A Slack message from someone named L. I don't know an L. Mark never mentioned anyone by that name. The message was short. "Last night was amazing." Still smiling. Smiling face with smiling eyes. My heart dropped. My skin turned cold. I felt like I'd swallowed ice. I sat down at the counter, staring at it, fingers hovering over the trackpad. My brain was screaming, don't invade his privacy. Don't go looking for something you might misunderstand. But the other part of me, the part that had been collecting puzzle pieces for months, whispered, you already know, you just need to see it. I clicked, and that's when everything came crashing down. Messages, photos, proof. The Slack conversation went back months. It started innocent, compliments, inside jokes, then turned flirty, then unmistakably intimate. There were photos, him shirtless in hotel rooms, her selfies in his t-shirt. There were plans, weekend meetups when I thought he was on work trips. Can't wait to see you again, she wrote. Wish I could wake up next to you every day. He responded, someday, baby. I just need time to figure things out. I felt like I couldn't breathe. But worse than the betrayal was a message that came a few weeks earlier. Your sister looked at me weird today, LOL. Do you think she suspects anything? And he responded, nah, Lisa's family is chill. They won't say anything. Wait, what? Why would he say that? Had someone seen them together? Had my family known? My hands shook as I kept reading. There were more clues. Mentions of Jenna, my own sister, telling him he should be careful, but that Lisa doesn't want drama. What the hell did that mean? I confronted him that night. I didn't even wait. He came home like everything was fine. Kissed me on the cheek. Asked for dinner. I didn't even answer. I just said, who is L? He froze. And then he smirked. I kid you not. He smirked, like he'd been expecting this. He sat down, ran a hand through his hair and said, so I guess you found out. No apology. No denial. No panic. Just acceptance. Everyone knows, Lisa. The rest of that conversation is a blur. I was yelling, crying. He was calm, too calm, and then he dropped the bomb. Honestly, I thought your family would have told you by now. I remember feeling like I'd just been shot in the stomach. What are you talking about? He looked me dead in the eyes and said, Jenna knows. Mike knows. Even your mom made a comment a few months ago. No one wanted to get involved. They didn't want to hurt you. I felt the world tilt sideways. It was like I was falling, even though I was standing still. Update. The next morning, I called Jenna. I didn't give her time to breathe. As soon as she picked up, I said, how long have you known Mark was cheating on me? There was silence on the line. A long one, then a cautious, Lisa, can we talk in person? No. Say it. She sighed. That's all. A sigh, like she was tired of me. Look, she said, I didn't know, not for sure. But yeah, I suspected. He was different. There were signs. I snapped. You suspected he was cheating on me, and you said nothing? I didn't want to hurt you, okay? What was I supposed to do? March into your house and say, hey, your husband might be screwing someone else? You never would have believed me. I would have. I deserve the truth. Jenna's voice shifted, got defensive. You always put him on a pedestal. You think I didn't try? You think I didn't drop hints? I nearly screamed. Hints? You thought hints were enough. I'm your sister. There was a long pause. Then she said something I'll never forget. I didn't think it was my place. My place, my marriage, my wreckage. I hung up. I couldn't listen anymore. My hand was shaking. I felt like I was going to throw up, so I called Mike. My brother has always been the quiet one. He's one of those people who avoids drama, like it's radiation. But I needed to hear him say it. I needed to know. I asked, did you know Mark was cheating on me? His pause was shorter than Jenna's. Yeah. One word. No apology. Just truth. How long? I saw them together in a bar, maybe 6 months ago. He said it was work-related. I knew it wasn't. I figured you'd find out eventually. You figured I'd find out eventually? He didn't raise his voice. What did you want me to do, Lisa? Blow up your marriage? What if I was wrong? You weren't. You weren't wrong. And you didn't say anything. More silence. He ended with, I'm sorry. But it was the kind of sorry you say when you spill coffee on someone's shirt. Not when you watch your sister's life fall apart and do nothing. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to ask. But I did. My mom and I have always had a complicated relationship. She's always been more invested in appearances than reality. The kind of woman who posts throwback photos to Facebook with captions like #FamilyFirst but hasn't called in 3 weeks. When I called her, I didn't ease into it. I couldn't. Did you know Mark was cheating on me? A sharp inhale. Then, her voice trembling but not with sorrow, with restraint. I had my suspicions, she said. I laughed. I actually laughed. Jesus Christ, Mom. That's everyone's excuse now. I suspected? You saw your daughter being lied to, and you let it happen? I didn't want to get involved, she said. That's a dangerous game to play. Relationships are complicated. I've seen marriages survive worse. Worse? What's worse than this? Her voice hardened. You think I didn't see you two drifting apart? You were so consumed with work, with your friends. Maybe if you'd been more present. I don't even remember hanging up. I just remember the sound of blood pounding in my ears. Mark moves out too casually. 2 days later, Mark packed a bag. Not all his things. Just some clothes, his laptop, his charger. He didn't ask me to forgive him. He didn't beg to stay. He just said, I'll give you some space. As if he was being considerate. I didn't cry in front of him. I just stared. And when he left, I locked the door behind him and collapsed to the floor, sobbing until my stomach cramped. I wish I could say I felt strong, empowered, liberated. But the truth is, I felt like someone had peeled the skin off my life, and all that was left was rawness, digging for the whole truth. Something in me snapped after that. I didn't just want to leave him. I wanted to understand the depth of the betrayal. I needed to know how long I'd been living in a reality that didn't exist. I started combing through everything, emails, text logs, credit card statements. That's when I found the hotel charges. Multiple ones. Spread out over 8 months. Some were during weekends. I thought he was at tech conferences. One was during the week I was at a vet retreat in Seattle. I found Uber receipts, late-night drop-offs to addresses I didn't recognize. One was Jenna's neighborhood. That nearly broke me. So I called her again. She denied it, of course. I didn't know they were meeting near my house, she said. Maybe it was a coincidence. Stop lying to me. I said, I already know. But she wouldn't break. Elle, the woman I didn't know I hated. I debated messaging Elle. I don't know what I expected to gain. Maybe I wanted to scream at her. Maybe I wanted her to admit she was a homewrecker. Or maybe, deep down, I wanted her to say she didn't know about me. That Mark had lied to her too. So I did it. I messaged her on Instagram. The account Mark followed. You probably don't care, but I'm Mark's wife. I know about you. I hope the lies were worth it. She replied, Lisa, I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but I'm not going to apologize for loving him. I stared at her words, stunned. He was never happy with you. You smothered him. You never saw him for who he really was. My fingers went cold. She wasn't just the other woman. She knew about me. She didn't care. Friends start talking. After the truth came out, the floodgates opened. People I hadn't spoken to in months reached out. Not everyone, but a few. One friend, Anna, who I hadn't seen in a year, called me crying. I should have said something, she said. I saw Mark with a woman at the Portland City Grill back in December. He said it was a co-worker, but they were holding hands. I thought I imagined it, or that maybe we're okay with it. I wanted to scream, but I thanked her. She had the decency to admit she failed me. Another friend, Derek, said he saw Mark out late multiple times when he claimed to be working overtime. Did you know he used your birthday dinner as a cover for one of their weekends away? He said. That nearly killed me. My birthday. He had told me he had to cancel dinner last minute because of a critical network outage. I ate leftover lasagna alone and told myself it was okay, that he'd make it up to me. He did. With her. I filed for divorce a week after confronting Mark. I didn't give him a choice. No discussion. No counseling. He tried briefly to guilt me. We've built a life together. Doesn't that count for something? Yes. It counted for 10 years of my life I'd never get back. I told him I'd rather be alone than spend one more day pretending to love someone who spent every day pretending to love me. The family fallout. I went no contact with Jenna. Full stop. Mike, and I had one last conversation. I told him if he ever wanted a relationship with me again, it would have to start with accountability, real honesty. He said, I don't know if I can give that to you. So I said, then we're done. My mom? She left me a voicemail the day the divorce papers went through. I hope you can eventually learn to forgive. People make mistakes. Families stick together. I deleted it. Families do stick together. Update. It's strange how silence can be deafening. After the papers were filed and Mark moved in with Elle, yes, that happened. More on that later. My life slowed down to a kind of numb crawl. The friends who had the decency to support me during the unraveling phase stuck around in quiet, gentle ways. Texts, dinners, check-ins. But the people I used to call my family? Silence. No one came to my apartment. No one called to say, hey, are you okay? No one offered to help me move, or bring me food, or just show up. And maybe that was for the best, because what I found out next made it very clear that I'd never really had them in the first place. It started with Jenna. Again, she hadn't blocked me, I had, temporarily, but curiosity got the better of me one day, and I saw her status update on WhatsApp. So glad he's finally free to be happy. It didn't say his name, but I knew. I felt sick, but not because of the message, because something about the phrasing, the finally, kept digging at me. So I opened a folder on my computer I hadn't touched since this began. The screenshots, the messages, the receipts. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Then I found something. A screenshot of a message from Elle to Mark, dated almost 2 years ago, not 1. 2. Jenna said she saw Lisa looking at me weird last week. Are you sure she's okay with this? She knows. She just wants us to be careful. Wait, what? If Jenna knew for 2 years, that meant they'd started dating long, before I even suspected. Long before I saw the Slack message. Before the skipped dinners. Before the late nights at work. That meant Elle had been in my life while I was still thinking we were okay. And Jenna, my sister, wasn't just aware. She was an accomplice. I couldn't stop remembering a specific night. 2 years ago, Mark and I had a fight. One of those dumb, repetitive loops about how he was always tired, and I was always too emotional. I had stormed out and driven to Jenna's place, cried on her couch, told her everything. She had rubbed my back and said, maybe you just need space. Guys get overwhelmed. Don't push him. At the time, it seemed like good advice. Now, I wonder if she was telling me to back off, so I wouldn't notice what was happening right under my nose. I needed to know. I couldn't just keep swimming in half-truths and silence. So I did something I'm not proud of. I logged into Jenna's iCloud. Years ago, she'd asked me to help her set up a new phone, and like an idiot, she gave me her password. I never deleted it. I told myself it wasn't hacking. It wasn't snooping. It was evidence. What I found shattered me. There was a group chat. Just Jenna, my mom, and Elle. I wish I was making this up. Elle, in a group chat with my mom and sister, titled, Sunday Planned Sunflower. I read through hundreds of messages, photos of brunches, planning baby showers for Jenna, not me, God no, casual talk about the weather, and then talk about me. Jenna, Lisa's still in the dark. I don't think she'll find out unless someone tells her. Elle, I hate sneaking around. It's been almost a year. Can't we just be open already? Mom, Lisa's not strong enough to handle it. You know how dramatic she gets. Mark needs to be careful. That's when I broke. Not cried. Not screamed. Broke. Like something inside of me finally splintered for good. They weren't just covering for Mark. They were actively shielding him. Supporting Elle. Mocking me. I thought that was the worst of it. But the universe wasn't done yet. My grandmother passed away a few months into the divorce. I adored her. She helped raise me when my mom was working all the time. She used to braid my hair and tell me stories about how women survived through betrayal, through war, through being ignored by the world. She left behind a small inheritance, nothing huge, but enough to make a difference. I found out from my aunt, not my mom, that my name had been removed from the will. Guess who handled that part of the estate? My mom. Apparently, she had helped Grandma with legal paperwork. During a time when my grandmother was declining in health, my aunt was furious but had no power to undo it. Guess where the inheritance went? To Jenna. Not split, not debated, just given. Mark and Elle, the happy ending they don't deserve. Mark and Elle didn't even hide anymore. Photos of them started surfacing on mutual friends' feeds. A beach trip, a housewarming party, even a soft engagement announcement captioned, "Sometimes the right person was beside you all along." I didn't cry. I felt something else. Disgust. And something close to freedom. Because now there was no illusion. No possibility of reconciliation. No doubt that I had done the right thing by cutting everyone off. It's been almost 9 months now. I moved. I adopted a dog. Her name is Mercy. Because God knows, I needed to learn how to give some to myself. I blocked Mark, Elle, Jenna, and even my mom. I left the family group chat. I didn't explain. I didn't send one of those long goodbye texts. I just vanished from their lives, the way they had quietly erased me from theirs. Mike reached out once, sent a single message. I get it now. I'm sorry. I should have done more. I didn't reply. Maybe one day. Not today. What healing feels like. I started therapy. That was hard. Sitting in a room and saying, "My entire family chose someone else over me," is a brutal first sentence. But my therapist asked me something I hadn't considered. What would you say to a child who came to you and said, "My mom, my sister, and my husband all lied to me. What did I do wrong?" I sat with that. I would tell that child, "You did nothing wrong. They chose what was easier, not what was right." And I'm finally starting to believe that applies to me, too. There's a woman at work, Claire, single mom, bad divorce. For months, she and I were just cordial coworkers. Then one day, she dropped a coffee on my desk and said, "I've been where you are. Let me know if you ever want to talk." We talked, and then we talked again, and now we talk every day. She's not my family by blood, but she checks in more than my sister ever did. She cried when I told her about the inheritance. She laughed with me when I said I was thinking of dyeing my hair bright red, as a middle finger to my past. I did it. It looks awesome. Sometimes, family isn't who raised you. It's who shows up when everyone else disappears. If you're still reading, thank you. I didn't write this for karma. I didn't write this for revenge. I wrote this because there might be someone else out there sitting in a kitchen with cold coffee and a heart full of questions, wondering if they're crazy, wondering if they imagined it, wondering why the people who were supposed to protect them chose not to. To you, I say, you're not crazy. They knew, and you still deserve to heal. Update. Yes, I've started dating again. Slowly, carefully. And no, he doesn't remind me of Mark. Not one bit. He brings me flowers just because. And he asks me about my day like it matters. Because it does. I matter. Even if my family never treated me that way.